members who are concerned about eradicating inequities in our community, as members here to address racism and other isms in our community so that we can walk together. So as you breathe in and breathe out, I want to invite you to connect with those values that humanizes our struggle. Right? As you breathe in and breathe out. I want to take this time to read a poetry by Michelle Olmsted, right? An amazing sister who talks about the struggles, the original struggles of this land. And she says, she calls it a vision for justice, a vision for justice. So as you breathe in and breathe out, and with your eyes closed, I want to invite you to imagine what she's talking about. She says, a long, long time ago, or was it last year? Or was it just yesterday? A seed was planted. A seed, a justice tree seed was planted. I want to invite you to imagine planting that seed, right? Getting your hands dirty, planting that seed. And she says, but how will this tree grow? How will this tree grow when the ground is poisoned with lies and broken treaties? I want to invite us to imagine that struggle, right? That struggle. How will it grow when water spills the blood of African and indigenous bodies? So as you breathe in and breathe out, I want to invite us to stay in that struggle, right? How will it grow when the stories of the settlers is the sun that scorches the earth and drinks our tears and burns our backs? So as you breathe in and breathe out, right? Imagine living, being a part of that condition. Deep breath in, and she says, and we know, right? Here's the hope that she brings to us. And we know that our stories are not the same. And we know that justice, yes, justice is a verb and not just a verbiage. So as you breathe in and breathe out, right? How are we showing up to make sure that justice is a verb and not just a rhetoric? And she goes on and she said, and we know that our work, all our work is about our babies. Taking care of the babies until the 7 generations. The babies we must love in ourselves, in our homes, in our communities, and above all, in our streets. So imagine you doing that work, embracing, loving, showing care for our communities, our Black and indigenous bodies. And she says, we bear witness. We create a safe and embrace space. We learn from the past to see the future. They say Sankofa. We tell our stories and share our narratives. And then, maybe then, the moments like this that we are together will become a movement, right? The moments we are together, these moments will become a movement. So I want to invite you to open your eyes, imagine that story, and smile at each other. Let some oxytocin, love juice, flow in this space. Come on, y'all, smile. Turn around. Stand up. Smile. Spread that love. Woo! Spread that love. I don't know where I am in my agenda, so y'all just spread that love. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay. Oh, this is the documentary? Yeah. Oh, yes. I got the privilege of introducing somebody that I only heard the name, and immediately I felt the reverence, right? And then I saw the person, and I immediately bowed. So this person is Mother Tomb, the one and original OGs of that. OGs here, right? And an elder here. So please join me in welcoming Mother Tomb, Cultural Wellness Center, and many other places. Love you.
It is such a deep honor to be here tonight. Art and others. Yes. It is an honor to be alive and able to recognize that being alive is not necessarily when I can walk and visually show myself. Being alive is the names that you will call now as you recognize those who have gone before us. Those who actually will be with us whether we like it or not in this space on this day. As people who are supposed to be here are here, please call at least one of the names. Call the name. Call his name. Call his name. Call his name. Call her name. Call our names. Call the names. Call the names. Yes. Call the mother's name. Call the mother's names. Call the grandmother's names. Call the baby's names. Yes, yes, yes. The names that are not called also know we are here. We must know they are here. Our reason for saying yes to be here tonight and inviting and honoring the invitation has to do with those who have gone before us, the ancestors. The ancestors who give us, you and I, all of us, the capacity, the beautiful, amazing capacity to remember. We must remember. We are remembering. And that remembering is giving us the capacity to do and say and be accountable. And for this, we are grateful. I thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I thank you so much for allowing me to say, I am accountable. I give account. I account myself, ourselves, us, to the ancestors who have died and yet are alive in us here tonight. Their only hope is that we will, as you take every single breath, every single breath, every single breath, every single heartbeat, that is the recording of their presence. For this we give thanks. For this we feel honored. For this we give honor. And we say, Amen. 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 Thank you so much.
One more time, one more time. So there is a humble request. If you're standing here and you don't have a chair, there should be space upstairs. So y'all wave from up there, right? Invite these folks up there to join you, right? If you can, right? Also, I noticed that it is getting hot in here, so make sure y'all don't have to take your clothes off, but make sure, get some water, hydrate, right? Hydrate and stay hydrated because we need your full engagement, right? Your presence here. I want to invite Janelle, one of the original sisters here who started this work and have collectively, y'all give it up, yes, yes. Janelle is going to introduce us to the 42, 24 demands, right? Something more than just like the Black Panther had 10 demands, and we have 24 demands. So relish in it. One more time, give it up.
Thank you. I'm going to try to stick to the script because everyone knows that I am long-winded. So sticking to the script will keep us to time. But Mother Tomb, thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling the names. In the work that I do, I am proximate to the names. And I still cry because they were somebody's baby. My job right now, you'll see me a few times, but my job right now is to go through the 24 demands, speak to the 38th Street Thrive plan, and then also the CCT survey. So many people have asked over the last several years, what is the status of the 24 demands? And so we are going to go through those. If you are on your phone and you need a copy of the 24 demands, if you go to bit.ly/George Floyd Square-A, you will get a PDF of the 24 demands. I literally did that yesterday because I couldn't find it on my computer. Bit.ly/George Floyd Square-A, and you can get a copy of the 24 demands. So to begin, demand number 1 was to recall Mike Freeman for the Hennepin County Attorney. That demand is considered met. Mike Freeman was publicly denounced and subsequently retired. Demand 2 Fire the following employees of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension: Drew Evans, Dana Goetz, Jeff Hansen, and Catherine Knudsen. That is not met. The leadership of the BCA continues to serve in their capacity, while their investigations into the unjust deaths caused by police violence have led to far more dead ends for impacted families than to justice. Demand 3, provide accountability and transparency in the cases of Christopher Burns, Courtney Williams, Terrence Franklin, Jamar Clark, Philando Castile, Thurman Belvins Jr., Travis Jordan, Kobe DeMock Heisler, Brian J. Quinones, George Floyd, and any others as their families decide to speak up. This demand is considered met. During negotiations, we agreed that it would be met by the DOJ investigation. The result of the DOJ investigation, I will now read an excerpt from their press release on June 16, 2023. Specifically, the Justice Department finds that the MPD uses excessive force, including unjustified deadly force and unreasonable use of tasers, unlawfully discriminates against Black people and Native American people in its enforcement activities, including the use of force following stops, violates the rights of people engaged in protected speech, and along with the city, discriminates against people with behavioral health disabilities when responding to calls for assistance. The department identified and concluded that persistent deficiencies in policy, training, supervision, and accountability contribute to the unlawful conduct. George Floyd's death had an irrevocable impact on his family, on the Minneapolis community, on our country, and on the world, said Attorney General Merrick B. Garland. The patterns and practices of conduct the Justice Department observed during our investigation are deeply disturbing. They erode the community's trust in law enforcement, and they made what happened to George Floyd possible. Today, we have completed our investigation, but this is only the first step. We will continue to work with the city and the MPD toward ensuring that MPD officers have the support and resources they need to do their jobs effectively and lawfully as we work together toward meaningful and durable reform. And as far as I can tell, if someone else has different information during the community feedback, please say. But the consent decree for the DOJ has not yet had a moderator for that yet. I could not find anywhere on the City of Minneapolis website where that is in play. But the Human Rights Department with the state of Minnesota, that is in play, and they do have a moderator for that. Demand 4, open an independent investigation into the conviction of Mayan Burrell. This demand is considered met. Mayan's sentence was commuted, and he was released from prison on December 15, 2020. Demand 5, establish an Office of Independent Investigation and Prosecution for Minneapolis law enforcement appointed by the Governor of Minnesota. This demand is unmet. Demand 6, require law enforcement officers to maintain private professional liability insurance. This demand is unmet. Minneapolis continues to be self-insured and to fully cover the Minneapolis Police Department, costing taxpayers millions of dollars. On July 3rd, 2023, NPR reported that the city of Minneapolis has paid out over $70 million in police conduct settlements from the years of 2019 through 2023, according to the city attorney's data updated as of June 9th, 2023. Demand 7, ban the indemnification of law enforcement officers. This demand is unmet. Indemnification is required by the law of the state of Minnesota. Demand 8, end qualified immunity. This demand is unmet. Qualified immunity is a judicial doctrine established by the Supreme Court of the United States, and according to the Legal Defense Fund, qualified immunity is only defended by mere myths, not based in reality. And these myths do not account for the substantial dangers that the doctrine poses for accountability, the ways in which it undermines the rule of law, and the peril it opposes to all Americans, particularly Black communities, most at risk of facing police violence. Defending qualified immunity promotes lawlessness and violence and ultimately shields officers and other government officials who violate the law. If qualified immunity is not abolished, these officials will continue to be protected, and marginalized communities will continue to endure dire, long-lasting consequences as a result. Demand 9, conduct the trial of 4 former officers charged in the murder of George Floyd at a court in Minneapolis. This demand is met. Demand 10, invest $400,000 into the George Floyd Square zone through the neighborhood associations to create new jobs for young people, which will help deter violence. This demand is met. In November 2022, Commissioner Angela Conley led the charge of getting Hennepin County to fund this need unanimously. The action of the Hennepin County Commissioners is a step in the right direction. And as we grow in community, we are learning the depth of the need to continue to invest in our youth. Demand 11, invest $300,000 into the George Floyd Square zone through the neighborhood associations to provide undoing racism training for the Black community provided by the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. This demand is met. In November 2021, Commissioner Angela Conley led the charge of getting Hennepin County to fund this need. Demand 12, adopt and implement the 2019 Livability and Safety Platform proposal submitted by the South Minneapolis Public Safety Coalition to the City Council. This demand is unmet. The City of Minneapolis did not want to pay the $10 million annual price tag that would have created jobs, safer streets, and healthier communities. Demand 13, allocate funds for integrative health services to support residents of the George Floyd Square zone through the RECAST grant managed by the Division of Race and Equity. This demand is unmet. The grant ended without funds being allocated for this ask. The need for integrative health and wellness resources still exists for the community. Demand 14, establish a temporary suspension of property tax increases for residents of George Floyd Square zone for 2 years. This demand is unmet. We wanted to find a way to create economic relief for current homeowners. An alternative solution exists in the 38th Street Thrive Plan and Action 2.4 Rooted Housing Program. Demand 15, include a rent-to-own option in new housing construction for renters. This demand is unmet. While there has been new rental housing added to the community here at Belfry Community Space, the intent of this demand is to increase home ownership, especially among Black community. We find that the strategy of the 38th Street Thrive Plan can help here too. Habitat for Humanity published the following statement on their website. We looked at data from the Prosperity Now scorecard, which is a comprehensive resource featuring data on family financial health, racial, economic inequality, and policy. Their 2015 to 2020 study shows 77.5% of white households own their home in Minnesota, compared to just 30.5% of Black households. And the number is even lower in the metro area. Among white, Black, Native, Asian, multiracial, and Hispanic Latinx groups, Black homeownership was the lowest. The scorecard also found that 45% of white renting households in Minnesota are cost burdened, compared to 57.4% of Black renting households. We can't talk about the homeownership gap without commenting on the wage gap between white and Black households in Minnesota. The state's median household income is $80,862 for white households and $47,739 for Black households. Staggering. And between 2015 to 2020, median rents have risen by 21%, while the median annual income for renters has risen just 2%. Demand 16, allocate a facade grant to George Floyd Square to improve the aesthetics of the business's corridor. This demand is considered met. Multiple grant opportunities for businesses in George Floyd Square have been offered since 2020. Demand 17, establish and distribute a contingency fund for Black, Indigenous, and people of color, BIPOC businesses located in George Floyd Square, according to the needs of each business owner, not their landlords, to ensure the preservation of Black-owned businesses and promote race equity. This demand is considered met. Multiple grant opportunities for businesses in George Floyd Square have been offered. Demand 18, provide Agape Movement a space for their operations within the George Floyd Square zone. This demand was met. Demand 19, give 612 MASH a blood bank bus or a coach bus to continue care for anyone who enters the memorial site during the winter months. This demand was not met, and efforts are still being made to determine how to best support 612 MASH. Demand 20, release the death certificate of Damian Murphy Ranks Chambers. This demand is met. It was completed within 24 hours after first meeting with Mayor Fry and the city council members of wards 8 and 9. Demand 21, open and complete an investigation into the murder of Damian Murphy Ranks Chambers. This demand is not met. It is our understanding that his official death certificate reads self-inflicted wound, which impedes upon an investigation. Neighbors witnessed a homicide. Demand 22, hold law enforcement accountable for impeding EMS responsible in the mishandling and delay of Damian Murphy Ranks Chambers case within the zone. This demand is considered met. We agreed that it could be included as part of the DOJ investigation, though we would not know which cases they investigated. Demand 23, drop the charges against nonviolent protesters from 2016 to 2017. This demand is considered met. Thank you. Demand 24, continue the closure of the intersection of 38th Street East and Chicago Avenue South until after the trial of the 4 former officers charged for the murder of George Floyd. This demand is not and cannot be met. On June 3rd, 2021, the city of Minneapolis surprisingly forced to reopen the intersection at George Floyd Square, further crushing an already broken public trust. Now I'm going to move on to some reflections on the 38th Street Thrive Plan. I want to acknowledge Councilmember Andrea Jenkins / neighbor Andrea Jenkins. We literally voted together yesterday. This is a plan that Andrea Jenkins has been working on for years, and they published the document on the city's website in, I believe it was 2021. The link to the website of the city of Minneapolis is there, where you can download the 70-page plan. It's comprehensive. Many neighbors and community members had worked on this plan. And I admittedly acknowledge that as part of the protest, we focused heavily in the last 4 years on the 24 demands. And we realized that the 38th Street Thrive Plan has so much foundation that really coincides with the 24 demands. And we want to look at an imagination around building on both of these documents. So the 38th Street Thrive Plan is the primary vision document for, let me say, I pulled a lot of this information from the document itself, and it's just a brief summary. The 38th Street Thrive Plan is the primary vision document for the 38th Street Cultural District. Its vision is as follows. The 38th Street Cultural District exists to continue the legacy and heritage of a deeply rooted African-American community by preserving our economic vibrancy, creative identity, and affordability that strengthens the vitality, resilience, and partnership of the people who live and work in the district. This plan reflects our community's values for equitable development and engagement, supporting anti-displacement efforts, establishing community wealth through collective ownership, and reclaiming our position to have meaningful impact on new developments and investments in the district. The area, sorry, hi Ben. The area covered by this plan is Nicollet Avenue to the west, 36th Street to the north, Bloomington Avenue to the east, and 40th Street to the south. In our review of the 38th Street Thrive Plan, we found overlapping goals between the 24 demands and 38th Street Thrive. This comes as no surprise, as both documents emerged through engaging with Black community members who have been historically disenfranchised and marginalized. This document does not focus merely on infrastructure. It also addresses the root causes of racism, and it acknowledges that it must be a living document to build upon the work of justice and equity. It leaves room for 38th and Chicago to have its own process. This document calls us to build a social experience for our community where our elders have affordable housing, Dreamland and Kente Circle are funded to increase access to culturally rooted health and wellness resources, anti-racism training is always accessible, anchor institutions and BIPOC businesses are supported. It also expects that we hold elected officials accountable to eliminate disparities in wealth, opportunity, housing, safety, and health. A significant part of the 38th Street Thrive Plan is that it does not simply look at one intersection of 4 neighborhoods. Its scope is broader, and therefore, more can be accomplished. Since the 2020 uprising, many neighbors have seen George Floyd Square, especially the People's Way, as an opportunity to develop their vision for the community. But there is not enough square footage to build who we need to become. And the reality is that we need more than buildings and streets. We need policy changes, culture changes, behavior changes, and a shift in imagination to transform our neighborhoods. This is why bringing the 24 demands together with 38th Street Thrive Plan is necessary. The 24 demands underlines what is urgently needed for us to breathe. The 38th Street Thrive Plan then gives us permission to live a long life. The final document that I am responsible for sharing with you all today is the survey that was organized by the Community Co-Creation Team during the city's engagement during the 2022-2023 year. The neighbors commissioned an independent survey funded by the McKnight Foundation and administered by the Center for Urban and Regional Affairs, which is CURA. The full survey results book, it's like a book that's like this thick, is available at Hosmer Library, and it is reference only. So anyone can go and access it, but you cannot take it home with you. If you scan this bit.ly link, you are going to be able to get access to the document that I'm going to read today, and that is the report to the Community Co-Creation Team. But before I read that, I'm going to read my own reflections. When I first read through the survey results, my initial thoughts were that we live in a divided community, and a process of developing George Floyd Square infrastructure may further divide us. As the survey has landed into the hands of neighbors, critiques of the survey focusing on the property over people have been heard loud and clear. Additionally, the impact of Crime Watch disrupting the survey puts in question the credibility of the survey. And there is the reality that several of our most vulnerable neighbors were not able to even complete the survey. But what the survey without question exposes is that we had hundreds of neighbors who asked for a police department or a prison to be built at the site of the People's Way, the former gas station. That is mean-spirited and grotesque. It testifies that we have a lot of healing work to do. And the reconstruction of the streets or the development of a new building will not undo the racism that exists in our community. George Floyd Square exists first and foremost as a place of protest. And protest exists to disrupt business as usual, to signal that there is something wrong that needs to be made right. After reading this survey, I can say with confidence that the reconstruction of the street should be the least of our worries. I get it. It will make some of us feel better, but will it actually make us better? This is now the Cura report. I'm going to read this report, and after I read this report, then I'm going to go directly into our testimonial time by playing a video from Brother Resma Menachem. This is the report to Community Co-Creation Team by the Center of Urban and Regional Affairs on May 6, 2024. Cura contracted with the Public Policy Project, LLC, to provide the Community Co-Creation Team technical assistance in the creation, implementation, and analysis of an online survey gauging public attitudes toward George Floyd Square and how it should operate as public space. Cura met with members of the CCT and worked with them to create an online survey. The survey was designed to solicit community input related to public transportation, commercial activity, and public space within George Floyd Square. The online survey was translated into 3 languages: Spanish, Somali, and Hmong. The English language version of the survey went online in early November 2023. The translated versions went online in mid-November. The online surveys were available to members of the public until the end of December 2023. And we made an extension for the translated surveys because of that delay. A total of 6,946 responses were logged by the online survey service. A number of these responses had no additional information, indicating that a respondent had logged into the survey but not answered any questions. When these non-responses and repeat responses were eliminated, there were 5,607 usable responses from the online survey. In addition, the CCT gathered 289 responses from nearby residents through a door-to-door outreach effort. When these responses were added, there was a total of 5,896 responses for analysis. Respondent characteristics are detailed in Table 1. More than half of all respondents lived in the George Floyd Square area, within the square itself, or within 4 blocks of the square, or in the surrounding neighborhoods. Most respondents, 72%, were between 25 and 54 years of age, though almost 1/4 were 55 or over. More than 2/3 of the respondents are white, 11% Black, and 10% Latino. The gender split is even, though 15% of respondents preferred not to provide this information. 3/4 of the respondents were homeowners. Almost all respondents were born in the US. Only 3.8% report being foreign born. 3/4 of the respondents reported having been to George Floyd Square at least once. Of those who had not been there before, 83% indicated that they would not likely ever go. A total of 1,731 respondents, which was 30.9%, indicated agreement with a statement that they and their family belong to communities that have experienced police brutality. On December 4th, 2023, the organization Crime Watch Minneapolis posted news of the survey on social media. The text of their post included the link to the survey and the following message: "This is a BS survey about what should be done with George Floyd Square at 38th and Chicago in Minneapolis, but fill it out anyway. We suggested a jail facility go in place of the abandoned gas station. Get creative." In 2 days, December 4th and 5th, 2,019 responses were logged to the online survey, constituting 34% of all responses received. The responses made those 2 days were significantly different than the responses the survey had generated prior to December 4th. Only 58% of the respondents on those 2 days indicated that they had been to George Floyd Square, compared to 94% of the respondents prior to December 4th, and 71% of the respondents after December 5th. Of those who reported not having been to George Floyd Square, 81% of the respondents on December 4th and 5th indicated they were extremely unlikely to ever go there, compared to 52% of those who had never been there and answered the survey before December 4th. The December 4th and 5th respondents were significantly different than other survey respondents in their attitudes towards George Floyd Square. For example, when asked how important it is to preserve the existing memorial to George Floyd, respondents who answered the survey before December 4th, 46% say very or extremely important, compared to 9% of those who answered on December 4th or 5th. Of respondents who answered on December 4th or 5th, 83% said the existing memorial was not at all important, compared to 26% of those who answered prior to December 4th or 5th, and 58% of those who answered after December 4th or 5th. The data show that December 4th and 5th respondents were distinctive in their responses to most questions on the survey. Responses to the survey also varied by where respondents live. Respondents who lived in the vicinity of George Floyd Square and in the 4 neighborhoods surrounding it were almost twice as likely to regard the existing memorial moderately or extremely important compared to all other respondents. There were differences by race, too, but in unexpected ways. Half of the respondents who reported that they are white felt the existing memorial was moderately to extremely important, compared to 26% of Black respondents. This pattern of response was the same for the question that asked whether the respondents regard George Floyd Square as sacred ground. The main substantive question on the survey have to do with 3 issues. A, the nature of a memorial at George Floyd Square. B, transportation access on 38th Street and Chicago Avenue through the square. And C, potential land uses for the former gas station located on the northwest corner of 38th and Chicago. Respondents were asked about the importance of several memorial options for George Floyd Square. Response categories range from extremely important to not important at all. Table 2 shows the percentage of respondents overall who rated each option as very or extremely important, as opposed to moderately, slightly, or not at all important. There was variation in respondents to these questions based on respondent characteristics. For example, among the respondents who live in George Floyd Square or the surrounding neighborhoods, support for these options is 5 to 10% points higher than the overall level of support. Most respondents indicated a preference for full transportation access through George Floyd Square, though that, too, depended on respondent characteristics. Table 3 shows the percentage of respondents supporting various transportation options for the square. Respondents who lived in the 4 neighborhoods surrounding George Floyd Square supported the first 4 transportation options at rates 2 to 4 percentage points higher than the overall. Local residents supported the full transportation access option less than the overall numbers by 4 to 5 percentage points. Table 4 shows the level of support for different land use options for the former gas station on the northwest corner of 38th Street and Chicago Avenue. Among all respondents, a majority supported a new business and green space. A new business was supported by the largest percentage of respondents. However, this too depended on where the respondent lived. Fewer respondents who lived in George Floyd Square or in the neighborhood surrounding it preferred a new business. Support for other options was much higher among nearby residents. Residents of the 4 neighborhoods surrounding George Floyd Square preferred the community space, public art, green space, and community garden options at a rate 10 to 12% points higher than the overall group. Residents of George Floyd Square supported community space at a rate of 5% points higher than the overall group, and residents of the square were similar to the overall group on the other options. With that, we are now going to listen to a video from Resma Menachem. We're transitioning into testimonies, and I am going to play this video.
Hello, everybody. My name is Resma Menachem. I'm an author, I'm a healer, I'm a therapist, and I can't tell you how proud I am of what you guys are trying to do at George Floyd Square. The way in which you've held that area down and are now beginning to look for how to bring more healing to that area, I just can't tell you just how much that means to me. It means to Black people. That area and the work that y'all are doing is really helping us begin towards the path of healing, but not healing in the way that we've been talking about healing. Much of the healing that we've been talking about over the past number of years is more of a performative healing. And what I want to encourage y'all to do is make sure that as you begin to do this work and create this kind of communal emergent process, that you make sure that that you keep your eyes on what's important. And what's important is that Black people and bodies of culture have experienced a lot of trauma as it relates to being here in America. Indigenous brothers and sisters have, Black bodies have. And so what we want to do is create a culture. So coming together is not just about doing something and then letting academics take over. You're going to be doing this process, this communal emergent process from now on. You have to get that into your brains, that what you want to do is create an opportunity to change the culture that brutalizes us. Brutality is the love language of whiteness and white supremacy. And so you must create something that allows that emergence of love and joy to come through. White supremacy constricts that energy. It doesn't kill it, it constricts it. And what you want to do is continue to create a container that can deal with the historical trauma when something like what happened to Brother George Floyd happened, that can deal with the intergenerational trauma, that can deal with the persistent institutional trauma and our own personal lived experiences trauma. That's what you're doing. You're not just coming together to create a report to give to somebody. You're coming together because you're going to do this for the rest of your life to hand it down to your children's children's children. So I wanted to come on here and just say, I support you 100%. The cultivating slow work that you're doing, make sure you wrap in love for each other. Make sure you wrap in play with each other. Make sure you wrap in big belly laughs and joy with each other. Those pieces are a central part of creation. You are not apart from creation. You are a part of creation. And the work that you're doing is allowing for that emergence to take place. I love you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. Anything that I can do to support you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today, but I'm actually on the road, getting ready to get on the road. And so I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. And remember, don't let other people speak for you. Don't let other people take over this process. This process is going to be going on for the rest of your life because you believe in liberation and you believe that the liberation of your people is important. Thank you. Love you.
Oh, apologize. Thank you for patience. So drink water, hydrate, take care of yourself. I want to invite Nona Champion. Where's Nona? Yes. Y'all give it up for Nona. And Derek Armstrong, where are you? Okay, come on.
Nona, and I'm 16. Hello?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Nona, and I'm 16 years old, and I work for Rise and Remember over the summer doing an internship. I want to thank everyone for this opportunity. I'm going to be talking about how investing in youth is important. Investing in youth is crucial for several reasons. Firstly, young people are our future leaders, innovators, and workforce of our society. By providing them with quality education, proper health care, and opportunities for personal and professional development, we ensure that they are well equipped to take on these roles effectively. Secondly, empowering youth contributes to economic growth. When young people are skilled and knowledgeable, they can contribute to the economy and build a more dynamic workforce. Lastly, investing in youth promotes social stability. Engaged and empowered young people are less likely to engage in negative behaviors. Ensuring that youth have access to these opportunities involves several key steps. First, education systems need to be strengthened to provide quality learning experience for all students, regardless of their background, and ensuring access to the technology. Second, healthcare services must be accessible and affordable to address both physical and mental health needs. Third, creating more job opportunities and internships can help young people gain valuable work experience and skills. Additionally, mentorship programs can guide them in their career paths. Finally, involving youth in decision-making processes ensure that their voices are heard and their needs are met, because youth still have opinions too. All this just sums up that youth are our future adults. We depend on our youth today for our future in 25 years. If the youth led the protest in 2020, how can our voices now be ignored?
Peace and blessings. I love Black people. I'm a person that's been at the square since day one. I'm Derek Armstrong. This is a little intense, so thank you for letting me share. Being there the day that George Floyd died, at that point in time, I had a lot of reflections on where the community were at that point and what needed to be done to make it better. And basically, since that occurred to where we are now, the demands and other things that we've endured that allow us to communicate what can make the neighborhood better seems to get unheard. And we're watching it continuously play out in the community in different variety of poverty conditions, situations that are in our control, out of our control. And we just need to be heard. I just want y'all to know it's okay to be kind to Black men anytime, you know. It's okay to be kind to Black men, strangers you don't know. It's all good. As a father, that matters because I get a lot of attraction from little kids, and I always try to give them something good and truthful of our reality. And we just need to make that more, let the light shine. Yeah, I'm just not, what we need and where it needs to go, there's a lot of intelligent people in the room that continuously vibrate that message. It not being heard must be questioned at all costs right now, based on, you know, if it was a good morning for you or not, you know. So I just represent the truth and Black man, prosperity and wisdom and health, and thank you for the time.
So I am not seeing Mama Castile here. Is Valerie Castile here? No. Going once, going twice. Okay, she's not here, but whenever she comes in, we will incorporate her in this program. So the next part of the program is about a case for people over property. Y'all give it up for that. A case for people, right, over property. So we are going to invite Art to come and share about the values, our shared values. Y'all give it up for Art.
How you doing? Can you hear me? Oh, it's working. It's good. We're talking about the case, right? The case for people over property. And to me, and I think to our group, the case is rooted in spirit. Dr. Raj talked about spirit at the very beginning of this session. So I want to talk a little bit about that as well and how it affects and influences our plan. Spirit of George Floyd Square derives from the spirit of the people who come to and the people who have occupied the square since May 2020. The community created this spirit. People came with offerings. Artists created symbols of resistance and memorials. Keepers of the square curate these offerings, plant flowers, gardens, and keep a clothes closet and a household goods exchange at the People's Way. Our vision for the future of GFS honors the past victims and all that has happened since May 25th. We want to strengthen the spirit of this place. Our prime value is people over property. Good one. We created this by doing two things primarily. First, we wanted to integrate our plan with the Minneapolis plan for the community. You've heard about it, 38th Street Thrive, championed by our council person, Angela Jenkins. The second is we listened to the people both at the square and in all the things that Janelle talked about. The beginning paragraphs of 38th Street Thrive document set a good stage for what we're about. You heard some stuff from 38th Street Thrive. Let me give you this piece. Our community experienced tragedy, pain, and devastation like never before. The vision to see 38th Street Thrive has now evolved into being the epicenter for a global racial justice movement and becoming once again the birthplace of Black and brown excellence in Minneapolis. Yet, what is most important is the well-being, mental, spiritual, and physical health of our community, even as we face additional challenges. Our vision also listened to people. And we listened to people at the square, and we took those surveys, and we went door knocking and did all that stuff. So some of the things that came out of that listening, including first, the defense of Black lives. We honor and respect the resilience and striving of Black people. It is clear that George Floyd's murder had a triggering effect on multi-generational trauma for many Black people. Healing, you heard Resma, healing is a key element of our proposal. Affordable housing. Homeless people come to GFS looking for help, warmth, and shelter. It is critical we allocate resources for this. Social justice. Justice, anti-racist investment, atonement, and healing are common statements by many, 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 many people. The intersection continues to be an important place for voices demanding social justice. Community gathering. The community prioritized gathering space. This includes space for memorial, but also education and empowerment. Public safety. We want to explore options for improving safety and well-being. And finally, a design that strengthens the residents. This means growth of the residential community without displacement of the people who live here. Hello? With that, also of the social movement surrounding the square and of residents' economic development and potential. All that goes together. Our vision brings together these elements and we believe build on the spirit of GFS and keep the community at the center of the plan. The community at the center. It is based on the value, people over property. This vision wants to continue to expand the vitality and energy of the community. Whether we're digging people out of a snowbank or sharing a meal, Minnesota is a place where people take care of each other. But the trauma that the neighborhood experienced from the murder of George Floyd and others has not been addressed by the city yet. And resources for healing haven't been provided. We believe that housing and healing are fundamental needs and that regardless of age, income, or skin color, we all deserve to be healthy and in safe, stable housing that we can afford.
Amazing. Let us continue this party. We're going to call Mylisha and Sir Miles to come on out to talk, to center the problem for us.
Can't hear you.
I'm gonna apologize in advance. Only because it took a lot for me to come up here, so if I stumble up on my words, I apologize in advance because everybody knows that's not me. But one thing I will say, and what I want to pinpoint and talk about, is the environment that we live in. A lot of conversation, and mind you, I'm here for the community. So everybody might know my name, but everybody know I speak for the community, not just what we're looking at. I'm talking about the ripple effects that touch everywhere else that we can't see physically. Love you, gatekeeper. Mind you, so everybody's not ignorant to what happened. A lot of people got indicted. And the only reason why I'm bringing that up, because that's not the first one. It ain't the second one. And another one is coming. So mind y'all, a lot of people, the police want to blame the community want to blame the police. I blame the environment. The lack of what it is that we have, what it is that they're choosing to ignore. And when I came to what they wanted to present to us the other day, it looked real pretty. It looked like it was gonna smell real nice, like it ain't got no roaches or nothing. I swear, it looked real nice. I was in here like, ooh. But then I was like, dang, if they did do that, we're still gonna be sleeping on their streets. People are still gonna be pissing. The Lord know my heart. the Lord know my heart. My bad for cursing. We still gonna be releasing what's inside of us on these streets. We're still going to be hoping and praying that somebody is going to look and tend to our needs, even though we might not be asking for a lot, but we asking for a lot. And one thing I do want to sit up here and pinpoint and point out to everybody in this room, we got so much more to give than we are willing to acknowledge. And mind you, while I got all y'all attention, my baby need a reading tutor for anybody that know how to tend to some kids and help out in some other type of way, shape, or forms. And promise you, it's little stuff like that. It's little stuff like, little things. The police isn't the problem. The city isn't the problem. The environment that they're choosing to keep us in is the problem. I didn't know what I was going to say to y'all, and I had like a week to think about it. But unfortunately, I go to school full time, and I'm homeschooling my kids, and I got other things to do with my time than to keep on pouring in this energy into this fight that I still have a lot of wind left. Everybody has a lot of good things that they have to say. But my main problem, and a lot of people keep saying, and we're just going to sum it up to terms that everybody could understand. The environment is the problem. And for Minneapolis to come in here and wave all this money and so-called resources and all this, what they think is what's in the best need for this community after ignoring us. They boldly ignored us for what they, like I said, it looked real nice. It looked real nice. But I will say, that's not the answer. It would be nice to live in a city that looks so wonderful, but it's hard to live in a city looking at nice buildings, haven't they upgraded enough? They done upgraded enough in this city for them to keep wavering money. That's money. It wasn't even about the buildings. I didn't see the buildings, the bus stops, that was irrelevant because it's gonna cost y'all money. Money that y'all could be using elsewhere to house people, to clothe people, to feed people. Now, if y'all fed everybody, people will stop stealing. If y'all clothe people, people will stop stealing. Y'all will stop arresting people on these little petty old charges. Y'all wouldn't be trying to look for and wait. Like indictments is when they sit and watch, right? Or is my understanding not right? If y'all can sit and watch for somebody to do wrong, y'all overlooking what's dead in y'all face that y'all not even trying to acknowledge, but willing to come in here and be like, oh, we're going to make this pretty. We don't want it to be pretty. We ain't take it to be pretty. And that's one thing people fail to realize. I love you, Bridget. Hey, you've been keeping me sane right now, because I promise you, I don't sweat, and I'm sweating, and my anxiety is going through the roof because I don't leave my house. The uprising messed me up so badly, I don't leave my house. But the community said, Alicia, you need it. You need it. So here I am. Here I am. You so Thank you, Bridget. Thank you. I got you. I said what I need.
Let's get through. Let's get through. So, as you walk the square, you will always see this man's artwork. So, y'all give it up for Jordan Powell. Yeah, big applause.
Peace, y'all. So, I built the fist statues out there. Thank you. They were never meant to be beautiful, as my Alicia put it. Like, they're not meant to be pretty. They're not meant to last. They're meant to hold the space in this protest that we've been doing for 4.5 years at this point. I'm here to talk about the city's proposal that came up, revealed to us a couple weeks ago or so. We went through 5 visioning workshops this summer. Many people attended, but there was not a single workshop that showed out like this group tonight. So thank you for being here on that. There was also smaller meetings. There was office hours. There was individual meetings. I was approached by the city individually. I know other artists who have large pieces in the space were approached. And the city, with all this, seemed to still have somewhat of an agenda, because they ended up with a 3-pronged offering of, you can have the streets for pedestrians only, you could have the streets for transit only, or you could have the streets for open traffic. And then they said to us, we're gonna do the open traffic. That's our preferred one. They put a bunch of reasons why, and you really couldn't define the differences between the approaches. Like, it seemed like everything applied to all 3 approaches. The pros were laid out as if, you know, we're gonna get more green space and trees, as if we haven't been gardening and trying to do that. You know, we're like, we've been asking for water fountains. We've been asking for bathrooms. That's the type of stuff we need. Those weren't written clearly in that. They talk about more space to walk, but I see people walking every day and up and down the block, finding a way already. So it comes down to this set of necessities. I personally found it quite disruptive, and it didn't all add up. So we're here at this point in juncture to pretty much say, you know, what are these proposals really about? We know that they're heading to the city council. If they say yes to them, goes to the mayor, all of a sudden we've got construction. And what does that really look like? You know, I live in uptown Minneapolis, and we've lost every single business. That's a thriving economic zone, and the construction has destroyed it. I'm not sure how this area is gonna really do. We already struggle in this neighborhood to keep it going. So it could be a real consequence to have bulldozers come in, not to mention it costs millions of dollars, and these contracts go to folks who I'm not sure if they voted for, you know, exactly, they're not like us. You know, but it's just, I have to mention with the revelations of last night, it's very serious what we're enduring right now, and what we stand on in this community is really unlike what I hear time and time again any other place in the world. We're changing something. We have a movement. We have sacred ground. We are in ritual. I come out to the fires when it's cold. I come out and hang out when it's hot. It's a lot easier sitting at the meetings all the time. it's become a practice and a ritual. And it's like Resma said, like, we're gonna be doing this the rest of our lives because clearly we're in a pretty tough world out here. It's not going so well in a lot of ways. So, you know, the city's proposal overarchingly just ignored all of that. They acted like these streets are gonna show up and there's a guarantee that blood won't be spilled again on them. The way the city and the police handled the situation on 35th and Grand a couple weeks ago, I don't see anything changing. So, you know, I think we should keep standing on this ground, keep leveraging our work, keep making the changes and fighting for something that we can't see yet because it's still coming to us. But really, you know, the proposal laid out simply, you know, it was just like meh, you know, that's all I gotta say about it, really. So really grateful to be here with y'all, and I think no streets, no streets, no streets. I'm gonna pass it off to Janelle here, and she's got some other ideas, some alternatives for you.
Which mic am I using? Riley, which mic am I using? Am I using this one, or this one? This one? This one? Okay, okay. Which one? This one? Okay, great. All right. So I'm going to read through this. Y'all, to the planning team, y'all, I'm calling an audible, and I'm striking some stuff based off of what I heard today. But the alternative George Floyd Square plan, the city of Minneapolis has expressed a plan to move forward with the reconstruction of the right-of-way at George Floyd Square. This rush to reconstruct the streets will not help the community heal. In alignment with the 24 demands for justice, the 38th Street Thrive Plan, and the declaration of the city of Minneapolis that racism is a public health crisis, we need a response that will improve our health before our aesthetics. With that said, we understand that some of our neighbors, especially our Black elders, have concerns around the aesthetics of the memorial reflecting the level of respect for our dead. So, out of respect for our elders, and those who continue to live without basic resources for safety and livability, we propose the following actions. 1, halt implementation of the suggested vision for George Floyd Square to allow for the following. 2, the city of Minneapolis collaborate with Hennepin County and the state of Minnesota to create an intergovernmental agency approach to implement immediate solutions for housing and healing. At the same level, they created an intergovernmental agency approach to law enforcement during the trial of Derek Chauvin. And I'm striking line 3 because I heard multiple times tonight is that we don't want to move our construction to somebody else's front steps. So I'm striking line 3. And then point 4 says that the city of Minneapolis explore options for supporting a racial justice and healing center at the intersection of 38th and 4th Avenue in honor of the incredible work that Councilmember Andrea Jenkins has done to help revitalize the Black business district in South Minneapolis. Yeah, y'all can clap for her. And then the 5th point is that the community of George Floyd Square, residents, businesses, and extended community, the family of George Floyd, and the future owner of the People's Way use the existing Community Visioning Council to create a comprehensive vision for George Floyd Square by October 2025 that is community-led and includes the permanent memorial to George Floyd, the People's Way, and the right-of-way. This vision will be presented to the City Council as a pathway forward in fall 2025. For those of you who don't know, the Community Visioning Council meets here every 3rd Saturday of the month. It is neighbor-led and supported, and it was designed by the CCT to actually cast the vision for George Floyd Square. And when the city launched its parallel process, it undermined the work of the Community Visioning Council, so it wasn't able to actually accomplish what it needed to accomplish because of the confusion among the public of why do we have double meetings. So, good question. 10 a.m.? Is it 10 a.m.? 10 a.m. every third Saturday of the month, right here at Belford Community Space. Without attending to the comprehensive needs of neighbors, along with the infrastructure improvements, we fear that the current plan will lead to increased displacement of current residents and their lives will not be improved. So with that, we're gonna invite Miko French to play the sound bowls. Y'all take a breather. If you need to use the restroom, do that. Ground yourself and center yourself. And then we are gonna open the floor, open mic, community feedback. Gatekeeper is gonna be first up to be able to speak. But we just want to regulate ourselves and center ourselves. So Tamiko, please.
Okay, if you will, as you sit down, I want to invite Gatekeeper. Y'all give it up for Gatekeeper. She's going to be our first community speaker. She is going to take a couple of minutes to say a few words, a few thoughts. Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper. Yep.
These our streets. He telling me I got 2 minutes. These our streets. What you thought? Gatekeeper, gatekeeper, gatekeeper. I am Eliza Wesley, AKA Gatekeeper, Gatekeeper, Gatekeeper. I'm also Southside community. And a lot of people, you know, I want to make sure we get a full understanding of what's happening out here. It seems like we're getting a full understanding. It seems like we're not getting a full understanding. And it seems like we done forgot the cause of how this happened and what the reason why this happened and why it had to happen. So everybody said 38th Street, but it didn't start from 38th Street. It didn't start there. It started from the 30s. So if you're a part of this neighborhood and you've been a part of this neighborhood, instead of just walking into the neighborhood, you would know that it started from the 30s. If you're a part of this surrounding era. Then from the 30s to 38. So I have a problem. The problem is that I have with everybody that's out here. It started with a black man getting killed. Everybody know, it ain't no secret. If you think it's a secret, you're gonna know today. My spirit man love our people because of God. My natural man don't like you. That's straight out. That's straight out. Because I can't pretend. Because I know what you'll do behind my back. And I know what you would do to me behind my back. Before George Floyd got killed, 38th Street, a lot of black young brothers was on that block. A lot of black brothers on that block. And a lot of y'all has a problem with those black boys on that block since George Floyd died. And y'all complaining. But when the police was beating out black men and they passed by y'all house in these neighborhoods right here, and these the corners, you would go to your door, open your door, and say, ooh, there's another black man that got to go back and eat your popcorn. That's what y'all did, for real. But now we got this paper lined up right here today. And when I came up here, no harm to nobody, but this started with a black man. Where's our black peoples at that's on the front line? Where's our black peoples that's out here standing and been out here for the race and been stood out here many days and many nights and many hours, and then you don't even respect the black men's. These black men's on 38th Street, and everybody know that I am for the men's, whether you know it or not. Because the men is our leaders. They're the head of us, regardless. These men If it weren't for these black men on 38th Street, that's where it started, at the belly of the beast, would none of y'all be safe out here. None of you. And that's facts. You didn't carry a gun. You didn't carry a bullet. You didn't carry none of that. They protected us as women. They protected our kids out here and everything. We don't forget that a black man lost his life for one time in our life. One time in our life that our black peoples can get a chance. There was a chance for us black peoples because we watched a white man that killed a black man with his knee on his neck. And they've been doing it for so many years. But God said, I'm going to expose it this time. It started with Jamal Clark. 1 year and a half, nothing happened. It started with Philando Castile when it should have been an explosion in the city. Then everybody want to turn around and say their business, and they got problems, and this closed and this closed. Your business didn't close because of George Floyd. Your business closed because God brought COVID on the land. That's when everything shut down. Let's talk facts. Everybody talking all this non-shot, cool-la, boo-la, shoo-la, goo-da. But guess what? It started because of COVID. How many of y'all gonna tell the truth out here? So then God said, I need everybody's attention. I want everybody to pay attention. And I'm finna bring something else on the earth. Everybody was in their house. Your job was shut down because of COVID, not because a black man got killed. God let a black man get killed. And I'm going to say this. And everybody that got organization, nonprofit organization, whatever, 38th Street Agape is here. Because you know why? They are part of 38th Street now, the original Blood Boys. Facts. Facts. That's reality. But life changed. You have a life to change your life. So God gave them an opportunity to change their life. So now it's the opportunity you change your life to show the world that you can change your life and do better things to help people and save people. And that's what happened out here on 38th Street. When I say that, don't get confused. No, this is our streets. I need to speak this tonight, and I'm going to speak this. Then another thing. After that, when George Floyd died, the wealth came on the land. Wealth came on the land. Wealthy came on the land. Money came from everywhere when George Floyd died. Now, how many of y'all don't believe that? How many of y'all believe that? God brought milk and honey on the land. Janelle, these our streets. I'm going to talk about 38th Street. They need to know this. I ain't got no hidden agendas. I ain't got no agenda. I'm not on the clock. If you didn't want me to come here, I'm speaking how I feel, and I'm not lying and bamboozling. I'm tired of the lying and bamboozling. The men should have been on the front lines doing what they doing out here. When George Floyd died, I was here from sunup to sundown. I didn't even realize that I had a husband at home. I was here every single day. I did not miss a day. And y'all telling me I'm on a time clock? I ain't got no time clock. I died from COVID out here. And still came out here after my sickness. Still came and did what I need for this community. Because I love this community. These are our peoples. You are our peoples. You are our peoples. When God made that, he made a change in my life to let me know no man is exempt. Whether you red, white, blue, green, or purple, we all need one another. We done got off track. Let's get back on track. Nobody out here on the streets no more. Nobody come outside. It's dead on 38th Street. When they did Rico and racketeering, the men would have been still here right today. But they took them. And how many of y'all said, oh, They done took the black men's. How could we get in touch with them, even send a postcard to just say, you know what? I thank y'all and appreciate y'all for holding down for us. Now we're going to talk about the streets got open. How many bodies was closed when the George Floyd and the streets got closed? How many bodies we lost? You can't count them on your fingers. You can't count them. You cannot count them. There was bodies lost out here when the streets was closed. Bodies. Bodies. You understand me? Bodies. The streets is open. How many people's come in these streets now since the streets is open? Huh? Everybody. They walk through here and everything, because you know why? They done took everybody away, and the white man made it comfortable for everybody. And the people that couldn't come here, they here comfortable. 11 and 12 o'clock at night, you out here comfortable. Hello, poo, 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 wow. But you still not forgot the cost. This community is hurting as black peoples. We are hurting. What we gonna do about it? We talk about the city. I'm tired of talking about that. What is the solution? What's the solution? I don't talk that much, so I'm going to take this mic today. Now, if you got a problem with it, I'm all right with it. I don't think 38 got a problem with it. That's okay. They can wait. This is my time. This is my time. I ain't going by no schedule. Now, leave me alone. So the thing is, what I want to say is this. What the change we're going to make? We're talking about all this stuff on paper, got it on black and white, got numbers, and got... What are we going to do to change the narrative of the city or what they are doing? What are we going to do? What is the plan? What is the program? Is we going to just keep talking on paper? Or are we going to make a statement to them? Are we going to go to the city and make an impact to them like they bring it to us? What is we going to do? Fight or sit down and be cowards? What are we doing? We sitting in these closed meeting, but we ain't doing nothing. We're not doing nothing. The city's not paying us no attention, no mind. We fought when George Floyd died. We fought. We held the streets down. Now, what's the problem now? What is the problem? All of us out here, we have the right to go down and say city and demand and decree what we want. We have the right to demand and decree what we want. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? And what do justice look like? It ain't this paper no more. It ain't this paper. This paper don't mean nothing. You know what this paper mean? Just like that to us. That's what that paper means. But we as a people, we was out in these streets. We can go to the city where they have their meetings and disrupt their meetings of what they finna do with 38th Street. That's what I want to share with y'all. And long as I'm on the mic, Dr. Ross, let me share this with you today. I'm going to share this with you public. I don't get a chance to speak. People say I've been speaking for 4 years. And now it's my opportunity going into this 5th year. The truth shall be revealed, and the truth will be revealed. You understand me? So when I'm talking, you didn't disrupt nobody that was on this mic talking. Now I'm talking. Now I done said what I had to say. Andrea Jenkins, how you doing tonight? How you doing? When you went down there to the city hall a couple weeks ago, and O'Hare didn't charge that white man for shooting that black boy, you rolling down your wheelchair, didn't you? Huh? Talk to me. Didn't you do that? I did. So that was leading an example as a woman standing up for a man, right? Huh? Did you stand up for this community when you did that? Did you have a crowd? They closed the door with you and you rolled that wheelchair and said, open this door back up. Didn't you do that? that made me feel that I know you finna stand with us. Do you understand me? That's how I felt that day. And that made an impact in me to see you do that. Because you've been holding them too long. But now I know you're coming with us. O'Hare said, Mayor Fry said the next day that the city council didn't have no business saying nothing to O'Hare. Is that what he said? Huh?
That's what he said.
Now, why we can't go do what we want to do? Huh? Huh? Why we can't do it? Now, hold up. All the animosity, everything we got against all our men, let's stand up and do what we need to do. 38th Street, stand up. Let me see 38th Street stand up. Let me see 38th Street. What y'all scared to stand up for? 38, I want to see my black people. Where y'all at? What's the problem? Whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets? Let's do something about it.
Thank you. One more time, one more time. Woo! So I asked some of the speakers to come up. Let's make sure that they take about a minute or two at the most. Y'all, hold them, please. 2 minutes, please.
2 minutes.
Thank you. We love you.
All right, all right. You know, I've been out here this whole time, too. Is this mic on? Woo-hoo. All right. Well, you know, my family, we put up the first aid stations, and we fed people, and we took in homeless people. But we were out here in 2012 with Occupy. And we fought for 6,000 houses that the city foreclosed on, gave us a bunch of homeless people. They built a stadium from 6,000 houses. And we can't house homeless people. They can't tell us what to do anymore, okay? Listen, this is our city. We the people, right? We tell them what we want, and they give it to us. That's how this works. Is that right, Andrew Jenkins? You are my voice in the community, and we're talking to you, and you take our words to the councils, and you tell them, we want police reform. We don't want a fucking building, excuse my French. We don't want the streets opened up. We don't care if you get downtown to work or not. We want to make it safe in my community, okay? And after put the gang members away, it hadn't been safe in my community. And it hadn't been safe in my community for a long time. In 1992, Mike Curtison, Officer of the Year, Cops on Bikes for Kids, got fired from Brooklyn Center for driving with his headlights turned off. We hired him. He turned his headlights off. He ran into my son's bicycle, and then he beat him up. He ran into another child of color with his headlights turned off. That's premeditated. You turn off your headlights and you run into a child's bicycle. My son said the only warning he had was the heat of the engine on his back. And then he felt the knee. And he pulled his hair back and started beating on him. What kind of people are these? These aren't human beings who beat up children. 5 years later, I talked to Mike Curtis, and I said, why, Mike? He said, well, I was trying to make a reputation. You make a reputation in 3rd Precinct by being the worst cop. We get the worst cops in 3rd Precinct, okay? Mike Curtis, Officer of the Year, the best cop we had, should be in jail for premeditated vehicular homicide for 2 counts. This has to stop. When a cop pulls you over and says, hey, I got to give you a ticket, I'm sorry, he doesn't get to shoot you. He doesn't get to cuss you out and don't care if you're pregnant or late getting to the hospital. We don't need people like that in our community. They're not community people. We have programs that we've talked about, a program called Adopt a Cop, where we take the new officers coming out of the academy and we bring them to our community. Police brutality is in a precinct, and it works like a disease, a competition. Who can get away with most? Okay? We need to stop that. We need to have community officers. We need for our young men from our community to become police officers for our community, for our own selves. Okay? If we need to, perhaps we need to have a draft. Okay? Let everybody serve 2 to 4 years on the police force. Maybe the community would understand what it's like to be a cop. Maybe cops would understand what it's like to be community. Okay? But we need community police officers to be a part of us. Maybe we ought to do something fun and different. You know, we need attention. Let's do a flash mob on the mayor's office. Let's go do a flash mob on 3rd Precinct. Let's make them feel like there could be human beings. Then we can make them feel guilty. Okay? But whenever they can run over a child and kill people and think that's their job and they're doing a good deed, God have mercy on us. And we let them get away with this? No more. This is our streets. This is my street. I've been here longer than a whole lot of people, okay? And I ain't going no place. They're trying to shut me down, kill me, everything else. I ain't going no place till we get some kind of police reform here. All right?
I'm going to open it up. The gardener, the gentle giant in the house.
Gentle. Gentle roar. Yeah, the only thing soft on me is my fur. Yeah, I'm a lion. Yeah, eagle and a buffalo. Most of all, a gardener. And it's good to see the seeds growing. Look around you. Because people, they always say, how do you take care? These are the true flowers. These are the beings that have roots, right? They have flowers and fruits, and they extend. Because an apple tree doesn't feed itself, nor does a pear, but it's for those who pass by. And when Jordan asked me on Saturday, it was June 11th, 2020, what should we do? Again, I went home and I slept. I said, let me sleep on it. And then that Sunday, we had a procession and we moved it to the middle. Then the next day, that day, people put flowers around. Then the next day, I started bringing wood out. And people said, what are you doing? And I'm just giving you my most vulnerable, honest answer. I said, we're making something that they can never deny. We're building something that they can never, whenever they go past this, and you was right there, I said, whenever they go past this, they're going to remember. They're going to remember. And the same people who he said, oh, we got this lovely plan. The whole team, I sat across from them. It was me and the 5 people in the city, all the divisions. And they said, it's not going to be here for more than a week. We're at year 5. Give yourself a hand. Who can defeat us? Who can defeat us? Now they say they can't make George Floyd Square for only public transportation or only for emergency vehicles. Yet the whole city, half of the city is bus only. I call hogwash again. How are you going to make the whole city half a bus line, but you can't make 4 blocks? Bus only? Really? You can make the whole city has to wait in 1 lane, but you can't dedicate it for us, for the whole world. Now we had the results from yesterday. We have to fight even more because they are not like us. They are not like us. And so we have to stand in the gap for everyone that is coming here. See, this place was built on a spirit of healing. They take off the dirt. What's around there is love, light, peace, wealth, happiness, endurance, all these good things that were written, because that was our envision. That was our vision. But they want to re-envision something that they never understood. I drew it in big crayons. I sat with every council person that I could, and I put it in big crayons, what it's about. But still, the thing is this. If your heart's not in it, then don't do it. City of Minneapolis, if your heart's not in it for the people, don't do it. If the council people or the mayors aren't sitting here, they should lose their seat. I'm going to say that again. If any politician that is not here, that should be here, and they're not in a seat here, they should lose their seat on council. If they're not willing to walk with us, don't vote for them. If they're not willing to walk with us, do not vote for them. Tell them in advance. This is a warning. This is a warning. Because, again, I don't want to be long-winded, but this is about our 1,000-year plans. This is about our children's children's children. This is about all our ancestors. We have to stand up in the gap. We cannot let go of this. They just want to, make it all pretty and everything like this, but what if you go 2 blocks, there are people starving. You go other 2 blocks, people are addicted. You go another 2 blocks, but all this money, build a shelter. Give away more food. Help. That's all. That's what George Floyd Square is about. Finally, we have all these different movements, all these different parts of the fist. We don't always necessarily talk, but we're always on the same level of consciousness. See, consciousness is knowing together. We all know together, okay? So it's all of our opportunity to share, because right now, half the world is enlightened and the other world's yet to be enlightened. And this is an opportunity to light up the world. This is our time to light up the world. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Who can defeat us? Who can defeat us? Who can defeat us? Because we are what? We are. In the old country, what we say is Milhama, Milhama, Milhama. That's our war cry. Who is like unto our God? I'm the gardener, and I'm humble, and I'm grateful to see that you are all taking up your part, and everybody is lifting up for everyone who cannot be lifted up anymore. That's what we always have to remember. Andrea Jenkins, I spoke to a lot of souls tonight, but I hope you share it with it. Share it. Because with the mayor, say Sadika or charity. Tell him a message from me, I said charity, because he said that word. Now, I'm pleased. I said charity. The one word, charity.
Okay, we are going to go over time, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay, over time. So be patient. We're going to take some comments from y'all. So please keep your comments to less than 30 seconds. Less than 30 seconds. Is that a deal? Okay. We have one hand up, and I will run the mic.
Hi, my name is Brenda Short. I'm running for mayor of this city. I need everybody to stand up. I need everybody to stand up. Look to your left. Look to your right. These people are here today, and George Floyd is not. And if you believe, like I believe, we can stop what's going on that the city is doing and go down on November 12th, downtown, and say no justice?
No streets.
No justice?
No streets.
November 12th, City Council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have another hand up here. Go ahead, quick.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming, man. I stand here as a lifelong Minnesotan, man, and I know that we have to start working together. It's a lot of people that come over here and make a platform for themselves that are not really community-based. So we have to get rid of all those politics. We're waiting for the city to do something. We should be working together as community. I stand here as a member of the Minnesota Agape movement that was there from day one, providing safety for everybody. A lifelong resident, again, South Minneapolis, man. And our motto is transforming street energy into community energy and really putting the neighbor back into the neighborhood. We have to start working with people that are born and raised in this neighborhood if we want to bring about change. We got businesses on that block that are Black-owned that don't get you guys the support because people just say, go look at it, go take pictures as tourists. So we got to go support Smoke in the Pit, Just Turkey. We got to support the Fire Arts. We got to support the coffee shop. We got to support the Minnesota Agape movement and really put your money and your actions where your mouth is.
So, thank you. Okay, no, I'm just going to give a shout out to Karen Wells, Amir Locke's mom. She's joining us online, right? So right up there, y'all give it up. Appreciate.
20 seconds.
Right.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Oh my God. Just want to share the 20 seconds just as a response to what happened yesterday. What did happen yesterday? Oh yeah, we know what happened. But I want to share just what happened this morning as I went into my studio and do my morning ritual of just practicing and, you know, self-meditation through the music and everything. And then when I come up with a new piece of music, it was just amazing. And I just came out of the studio just for a second, and Carrie comes out of her dance studio, and then we saw each other in the lobby, and we just looked at each other, and we just went, so I want everybody to just
appreciate spontaneous laughter. Laughter is good for you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm just your neighbor. I used to live on the square. I now live on this block, and I love this community so much. And I just wanted to say it's so important that the traffic stuff that they're proposing is not in our best interest, and it is a tactic. I was awoken the night that they destroyed the barriers that were there without our permission, and I was awoken the horrible morning when the first-year anniversary of George Floyd's murder, when somebody sped into the square and sprayed bullets everywhere. And you know, we put those speed bumps down to protect ourselves so that some people could not pick up speed and create another Charlottesville situation. And this is what they want. They do not want a space where people can gather, because we can't. Cities have been designed not for protest. This is the history of American architecture. And what they want here, they do not want a place where we can gather and where we can gain power and we can be in community again. And that's what I see every day. But we are not safe. We are not safe when somebody can just come barreling through. And that is what they want. And they want a pretty sight to see as they are speeding on past our neighborhood where they do not live. Anyway.
Anyone else?
30 seconds, So my name is Mickey. I live at 36th and Park. And there's a really important reason that I say that, and that is because I think it's demand, or the request number 2, to have the city and the county work together. I say this because there's a street project for 35th and 36th that is happening right now. There is a street project that's happening for Park in Portland right now, and they are not talking to each other. They are not planning together. So it is important that our governments, our various governments, will work together. So I fully support that demand. Thank you.
Woo! Oh.
Hi, I'm Michael, and for the past 4 years, this community has been growing stronger and stronger, and when I'm growing up, I can see that through my life, and I can see that people are, they're themselves. You can be yourself, and you can be together, and you can fight for what you believe in. And hi. You can say what you believe in. You can do what you need. You can be with yourself. Yeah. By the way, you might not know me, but I've seen you like 3 years ago. Thank you for letting me be myself and being comfortable.
Appreciate it. Hands, hands, hands. Hands. Comments, thoughts. Yes. Name.
Hey everybody, my name is Kiru. On my way down here, I drove down I-94, and that road when it was built, it cut through black neighborhoods, displaced people, sent them all over. Go across the river, you go on Toronto area, same thing. We see construction projects used as tools of destruction for black communities, and it's not off my mind that it's something similar going on today with 38th Street. So yeah, just leave it there.
Thank you, bro. Great. Speak the truth. Julia.
Hey y'all, I'm a neighbor literally next door, and I just want to say I have so much love for the organizers at George Floyd Square who have fought to keep us safe. When the city fails us, when society fails us, I know I can count on the George Floyd Square folks to provide resources, to provide food, to provide hugs and care. And it's hard because, living here, like, this is 38th in Chicago. Don't forget that, right? I got robbed at gunpoint with my baby in the car, and I didn't call the police. I called Marsha Howard. And I went and got margaritas with my Calvary church neighbors, and they bought me pizza, and they comforted me and my son. And Marsha found out who done it and gave them an earful and was able to make sure that there was accountability, right? So those are the things that I think about when I think about George Floyd Square, is how I feel safe, how I feel like my child is safe, not because the city is coming in and they're policing the hell out of all of us and they're trying to lock us up and they're trying to murder us, not them. And not Mayor Fry when he comes to do his photo ops and talk about his vision for what he's gonna do for my neighborhood. No, I think about Jay the gardener, who is keeping the gardens going. I think about Jenny with the freckles, who's keeping the people's closet going. I think about Gatekeeper, who's gatekeeping, okay? And I think about everyone's got a role to play, right? And this is a nice little blueprint that I want to see get copied, pasted all over the country, all around the world. I want to see my neighbors getting to know my neighbors, because whenever things go down, last night with the election, when people were scared out of their minds because they didn't know if white supremacists were going to come again to this intersection and start lighting things on fire and spraying bullets and jumping out of pickup trucks so that they could jump black people and get away with it. When we were terrified, we had each other. So thank you.
We got one more. We have to honor an amazing soul.
I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. My name is Jeanette Rupert, AKA the Reverend Nurse. I do hold both licensures, and we were holding it down with healthcare, spiritual care, all the spiritual care folks that are here. I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Healthcare folks, mental health, all of that. We know the needs of our community. And it's so important that our voices are heard and that people listen, because the earth protests with us. So if you don't listen, the earth will protest with us. That's all I want to say.
Okay, without further ado, we're going to call Marsha Howard in the house. Woo! Thank you.
want to thank you all as neighbors for coming here tonight. Someone asked me to do a bio today, and I said, I'm Marsha Howard. I've been a teacher since 1998. I've been a resident of the Bryant neighborhood the same amount of time. And they said, well, what about that other part, George Floyd Square? I'm just a neighbor. I'm just a neighbor. I don't run nothing over there but my mouth. I'm just a neighbor, but not just a neighbor. Because at GFS, which is 260 steps from my front door, we hold each other in community every day, twice a day. We look in each other's faces, not just going on Facebook. Instead of wondering what's happening on next door, we go next door. And I need to tell you, you feel it in the wind, that shift, right? Since yesterday, you feel it in the wind. 38th and Chicago is the epicenter of 4 separate neighborhoods: Bancroft, right? Bryant, Powderhorn, and Central. But it's also the epicenter of a global social justice movement. Each and every day, we are practicing something that is not new. In fact, it's so old that the current forces don't even know what to do with it. We're just being neighbors. We are holding each other in community. And I need to tell you, community is not just a bunch of folks with an affinity in common. It's not just a bunch of people you like. Community is any relative, any human that comes to stand with you that don't mean no harm to themselves or the community. You ain't gonna always like them. You not gonna always get along. You might not agree with the cut of their jib, but you say every single day, I see you. I see you. And there seems to be, not just at 38th, but around the nation, a reluctance to truly see each other. And who does that serve? Who does that serve? White supremacy, yeah. The day George Floyd was lynched, my former student, Darnella Frazier, her mama reached out to me, left a message, but it was COVID. And I walked out in my kitten heels and my A-line dress, because I dressed like a hood Miss Frizzle, right? And we stayed outside. We stayed outside because there was a need. And I'm telling you, if you fast forward 4.5 years later, there are all kinds of visions running through people's heads of an ersatz 50th in France. Oh, people got ideas. In fact, our city leader showed me a few. What if we have string lights? I've seen that in San Diego above the streets. I said, go on. Instead of the mourning passage, the names of your unavenged dead, how about we have cobblestones like downtown with the names of the dead etched in? See, the added bonus is you can add more names as they are killed by the police. Go on. There are a lot of people with ideas of the aesthetics of George Floyd Square. And if you thought for one moment that we have stayed outside for 4.5 years in the cold, in the rain, in the heat, in the snow, in the bullets, in the screams, in the pain, in the sneers, and the looks askance of our very neighbors who they sympathize. But let's be honest. I'm a middle-class, middle-aged woman. I could very easily just go in my house and wait for this to blow over. But the city killed a black man in broad daylight. And we have this moment to keep all of our attention on this very fact. We serve white supremacy in an almost cultish manner where we need the blood of black, brown, and indigenous people to consecrate the ground that other folk walk on, this stolen ground. And we do it with a religiostic fervor that is as easy to predict as a date on a calendar. I'm gonna be honest, y'all ain't seen me at these neighborhood meetings in the last year because I said, give them a minute. They gonna kill another one. That's gonna set the clock back. Y'all remember the meeting that we had here? And meanwhile, they allowed a man to kill or attempt to kill my daughter's neighbor across the street. And all Al Jazeera, Wall Street Journal, The Guardian, all the folks that we have connections with from 4 years ago are like, what's going on in Minneapolis again? And I'm like, dang, y'all can't. I'm rooting for you. I was rooting for you, Minneapolis. We were all rooting for you. And they did it again. The disparity that this neighborhood has dealt with for decades. I really want y'all to understand what George Floyd Square means, not just for the nanas and the papas that come on pilgrimage, not just for everybody, Ush and them, all of them, anybody that come to Minneapolis, they gonna go to the Cherry and the Spoon, Mall of America, and George Floyd Square. I'm so sorry if y'all live within 5 to 10 blocks from here, but it is now a historic landmark. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. And the symbolism of it is one thing. It is a memorial. It is a place of resistance around the world. But first and foremost, it is a community. And what we need to tell folk is that you may want, you may think, you may desire normalcy. But what was normal was black folk dying in the middle of the street. I have lost 7 students to these streets. And Winston Boogie Smith, who was assassinated on June 3rd, 2021, the day they opened the square, he was mine too. Amez, who was murdered in front of Cup Foods right when the trial started, mine too. And this isn't about me. This is about us. What won't they do to get what they want? What won't they do to get what they want? They want us distracted and they want us attacking each other. And we cannot, especially now, do that. I need y'all to focus. You need to focus because we have a moment right now where we can truly affect change and show the world what it means when a city gets it right. when a city gets it right. This is an opportunity. We got a window right now, and the window got wider in the last 24 hours. Look, it got wider in the last 24 hours. There are things that people are going to now have to prove when they come on home. They may come dragging their head, but they coming home. So our elected leader, he's got to come home. People tried to castigate him about George Floyd Square. I was real quiet because it did not serve a purpose for a noted anarchistic, somewhat domestic terrorist, as I've been called by the right and Alpha News, to be big upping Governor Walz. And it did not serve him for us to unduly criticize him. And I'm sorry, once you gas somebody, I think we should be able to criticize. I'm just saying. Because I recall the tanks coming up my street. You know, what has radicalized a 51-year-old high school teacher? You kill a black man away around the corner from my house and then send the National Guard up my street in a tank. That'll do it. And let me talk to y'all. The past is not the past. As of today, and definitely after next January, you may see more tanks coming up the street. And it will not be precipitated by a protest. You gonna need your neighbor then. You gonna need your neighbor then. Who keeps us safe? Who keeps us safe? We keep each other safe. I need you to know that they want you to think the long arm of the law is an extension of your own power. We know their crime clearance rates. We know, y'all definitely know if you live in this neighborhood, you can call in 13 minutes by our last count for it to come to us, right? And that's not because of the charter. It's not because of understaffing. It was a little thing called Operation How You Like Them Apples. They were mad at us for our political views and decided to deny us service. They'll deny it, but there's something called a consent decree and a DOJ investigation that's showing that is exactly what happened. What's happening? So I need to sleep, so don't call me in the middle of the night. Call your neighbor. Depend on each other. And don't just depend on each other if something goes wrong. Y'all, we need to start depending on each other for all things. We have to. Be a neighbor. Be a neighbor. It is just that simple. George Floyd Square is a beta test. It's a beta test for what it's like to be in community, and they want to use the best things about us to disparage us. Oh, you're giving food out? You're helping anybody that walks up? How about we just drop somebody who just got out of prison right there, literally seeing them come out of the cop car. And they're like, where am I? What am I doing? Last time I was here was 11 years ago. And you know what we say? There's coffee, because we're going to be a neighbor. But the powers that be will use everything great about you and try to turn it against you. Desegregated public schools. We're going to blame white women for the destruction of public education, even though in 1998, we were neck and neck with Iowa for the #1 educational system. How the heck that happened in 20 years? We went from being #1. Okay, Iowa. Iowa was #1. We were #2. To every single day, I would go in and they would tell us why public education needs to be taken over. It was an op, y'all. It's an op. They want us to distrust each other. They don't want us to love each other. They don't want us to be neighbors. It's an op. Because as soon as you want to scurry away because 38th don't look cute and you sell your house, they're going to find a way to put, wait, aren't we zoned now for 3 stories on regular streets and 6 stories on major intersections? That's what they want. I don't care what they call it. All I know is this. Y'all need people over property. People over property. But in the meantime, in between time, I done told them, and I mean it, over my dead body, no justice, no justice, no justice, no justice, no justice, and we mean that.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Give it up for yourself for being here tonight. So give it up. Give it up for the youth who are here. Want to make sure we recognize the youth. And then the organizing committee, y'all stand up if you will. Who are the organizing committee here? Well, right there, right there. Few of them, right? So as many of the speakers reminded, please take care of yourself. Right? We know what we saw yesterday. That happened too. And then we know what is today. And 6 months and 21 days later, it'll be 5 years. Right? The 5th anniversary. Right? And what are we doing? What have we accomplished? Right? Angela Davis often reminds us, right? She says, I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I can no longer accept. Right, so that sister, that elder often reminds us, right? And this is something that Rasmus talked about, but Richard Rohr often say, pain not transformed will continue to transfer. Let us transform the pain and this space for the betterment of our humanity. I want to call on the pastor to close this out for us. Y'all give it up for our pastor. Appreciate.
Hello, welcome to Calvary. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Your voice matters. Our assignment hasn't changed. So let us rise together as we are able, and let us go out with one big whoop, whoop, whoop. We got to celebrate. Oh, a prayer? Oh my gosh, well, let us pray. You can pray standing as you like or sitting, whatever sets you free. We're free here. Holy God, thank you for gathering us in this time, in this place, in this particular way. Move, breathe, change us, break down the barriers, Lord, and build us anew. Lord, we pray that in your name, these streets would be held holy. We thank you for the people that you have gathered and built up to protect and to lift them up. Hallowed be your name. In your name we pray. Amen. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Okay, y'all, get out of here. Clean up.